Francis Ngannou said that his next fight's going to be in boxing, and he's
no choice. What else you gonna do?
Yeah.
Listen, he made the right choice, making all the money in the world, doing boxing, tore up Vieira, the giant Brazilian. That was an easy night in the office. He's making all the money. So he made the right choice. But this is part of the choices. Like with MMA, there's only one. There's nothing else. The PFL is a complete fucking dumpster fire. There's nothing there. You beat their big Brazilian.
That was it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's how this goes. So now he can jump back into boxing. Him Wilder, yeah, take my money. That's the fight. I've been shouting that from the rooftop since he came over with PFL. That's the fight.
Yeah.
There's an 80% chance that somebody will go to sleep. Yeah, no shit. It will be one or the other. Maybe not in his past two fights, but Deontay Wilder is known as the guy that knocks everybody out. Tries to. I'm going against that guy, and myself can knock someone out. Deep inside me, there's a little bit of ego. Like I know I hit harder. Oof, I don't know about that, Playboy. I'm saying from my experience that we will have that ego that we both want to prove. It's me who hits harder. Who's the biggest hitter between you and Deontay? Those sort of conversations pop around a little bit. Even though you think you don't care about it, stick somewhere in your mind. Yeah, I love that fight.
Same, dude. I think that's
and Wilder hits like
fight.
A fucking Mack truck. Mm-hmm. His defense isn't the best, so Francis has a better opportunity to win. Francis still an underdog in that fight. Don't get it twisted. Deontay's been in there. He's just a pure boxer. His heavyweight run, which is over, but his heavyweight run is one of the greatest of all time. One of my favorite fighters of all time. Absolutely adore Deontay Wilder. Worked with him many of times. Fucking love the dude. France would still be an underdog in that fight. Not as much as the Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, but he has a way better shot of winning this fight than Tyson or Anthony Joshua. That's why I like to fight for him.
Yeah.
Because Deontay's defense is a little wild, but he's long, so he gets out of the way. And when he counters, that right hand is fucking filthy. But again, for Francis, he had probably one or two left. If he gets knocked out this one, it's probably over. But he's making all the money.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And also, that was one of the concerns with. So Daniel Cormier commented on this potential fight. He's like, Francis got destroyed by Joshua. Like, so he's like,
different.
How many times can he do this? How many times can he take this punishment?
One more,
because he's never had that before. You know, like he's never been knocked out.
I know he has a great chin. Yeah, so one more. There's been guys that take way more punishment for way less money. No. Don't hate on this, DC. Sure, he's going to make a boatload of money. He always does, but no, he doesn't always. No, he doesn't. He did not make a boatload of money in the UFC. That's not true.
He started.
There's a reason he's fighting Deontay Wilder, because now he's making a boatload of money. The Tyson, the Anthony Joshua, he had to go over to box and make a boatload of money. Sure, he's going to make a boatload of money. He always does. But at what point do you go? I don't know, because if you ask me, it would seem like he's up against it again. Yeah, he'll be an underdog. Maybe he's just the biggest, best man on the planet that we all believe in. He doesn't care that he's up against it. He wants to prove everybody wrong like he did the first time we fought Tyson Fury. He fought him very close fight. But we can't ignore the visuals we saw the last time, especially when he came back to MMA and fought so well.
And this
people don't hurt Francis Ngannou, but when it happened in Anthony Joshua, he looked lost. That's what's concerning me, because I don't know where the moments in the fight with Deontay Wilder, the way he punches, where he's going to need to find safety. Oh, I completely disagree. Completely disagree. I think the Deontay Wilder fight, Deontay does get hit. Deontay has less boxing experience than a Fury or Anthony Joshua. The knock on Deontay has always been his technique. When you see him throwing that right hand, his left hand's down, he's leaving his feet. That's how hard he fucking hits. His technique's never been the best, but he still starches dudes. Knowing that gives me a little bit of leeway where I go, I like this fight for Francis. He'll make a ton of money, and there is a chance he's not going to outbox Deontay Wilder. Francis ain't going to outbox anybody at a high level in professional boxing. There's not enough hours in the day. That's not the point of this. What Francis can do is land on Deontay Wilder, because he doesn't have the same technique as a Tyson, even though Francis landed on Tyson. But it's a whole different story. But Anthony Joshua, when things got real, it was just a different level of skill. Deontay's doesn't have the same skill set as Anthony Joshua. I'm talking about a gold medalist. Deontay Wilder's bronze at heavyweight, but still. That's why I like this fight. I think DC's off on this. This is the perfect fight.
I love the
perfect fight. A guy that gets a little reckless, knockout artist too. Francis has potential to land. Not going to go all the rounds and take all the brain damage. and make a ton of money, or what he can do, and he showed it in that MMA fight against Vieira, like he's still very dangerous and skilled, or you can stick around, find PFL, and fight guys nobody gives a flying fuck about just to get wins. That would be an ego thing. Testing yourself at the highest level in boxing, that's what fighters do.
Yeah, against one of the
You don't
hitters
milk
in
the
world.
PFL that's a sinking fucking ship, and they're trying to find a guy opponent because they don't have any. No. You take risk because the juice is worth the squeeze. You're getting how many millions to fight Deontay Wilder from fucking Saudi Arabia? Where the hell it's at?
Most likely, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, that's where that money's coming from.
Oh, and
But that's
imagine
like-
the promo for that. You know, they go all out with those promos.
Yeah.
Just a highlight reel of them knocking dudes unconscious. Somebody and you know that fight's ending in knockout. You know it. Guarantee it. Take
I'd be
my
so-
fucking
I'd be
money.
shocked if
It's
they
the best
did. Yeah.
fight in boxing. Take my money.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for that. If that
That's a
happens.
weird take by DC. I love him. I'm
No,
surprised.
because he's looking out for Francis, basically, is what he's saying.
What's the alternative, DC? Stick around the PFL and do what?
Yeah.
Get a fraction of the money? Still a risk because you're fighting heavyweights.
And Francis could knock out Deontay. It's possible.
There's a chance there. He has a way higher probability of knocking out Deontay than anybody else in boxing. Especially now.
That'd be such a fun fight, dude. They're so wild.
Great fight.
That'd be amazing.
MMA Guru's
MMA
been
Guru.
fucking cooking lately, man.
He's always been popping up like crazy.
He's been popping up, but now he's cooking because he's getting a response back from like network guys, like DC and jail. Like he's getting their attention.
He said something's gonna happen with John Jones. Remember, like
Yeah.
news coming out,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
No, he's cooking. Proud of him. Let's see. What's this? The most polarizing, controversial YouTube content creator, MMA Guru's post on X over USA wrestling credentials get attention from UFC legends DC and Chael Sonnen. Of course, two guys that fucking die by the
Yeah.
sword with wrestling. At UFC 312 co-main event, current strawweight Zhang Weili defeated Tatiana Suarez via unanimous decision, displaying total domination inside the octagon. What made this fight more interesting is Weili being a plus 240 underdog against Suarez. Because Tatiana's wrestling accolades, many believe that her path to victory would be untroubled. Yeah, although she was unproven, but yes. However, Zhang defeated 14 out of 15 takedowns, even cracked her opponent on the feet, proving every doubter wrong for picking against her. Yeah, that sucked. After Weili's victory, popular content creator MMA Guru, who has a massive fan base following and is known for being a harsh critic, or just telling the truth, put out a post on social media platforms, mentioned he's not mentions he's not going to trust USA wrestling credentials anymore. He also called out UFC legends DC and Chael Sonnen, both renowned for having wrestling backgrounds, for gaslighting him into believing that wrestlers are nothing but monsters in MMA. On a recent episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy, DC Chael Sonnen addressed the issue, which they sort of had a disagreement over MMA Guru's post. In the UFC right now, this is Chael Sonnen talking. In the UFC right now, we don't have an NCAA wrestler in heavyweight class. I didn't say an Olympian. I didn't say gold medalist. I didn't say an All-American. We don't have a heavyweight. When Stipe retired, who didn't really use his wrestling, but he did against Francis. But when Stipe retired, that was the last of the heavyweights. Prior to that, there was a guy named DC. We don't have a single NCAA wrestler, not just in the top 10, not in the top 15. We don't have one under contract in the UFC. Okay. So then he goes on to say top wrestlers in America like Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Dake, David Taylor could have entered the UFC, but they didn't choose to do so because they recognize MMA is a complete sport. Only wrestling is not enough for surviving the octagon. Correct. Chael goes on to say, it's such a complete style now, it's not something you can get through college and picking up some boxing lessons on the side and you're good enough to for the octagon. Yep. True at some point. But if Guru was arguing about these hard, gritty, tough wrestlers isn't enough, he wins this argument. Agree with Chael, 100%. Yeah, the game's moved on so much where you can't just have a strong wrestling foundation and take over the UFC. 8-10 years ago, that's all you needed. But guys are so good now. They're good with their cage takedown defense. They're good with their footwork, avoiding the takedowns. You can't. That's a good thing, by the way. It means the sport's evolving. So then DC goes on to say, he's wrong, Chael. Just because the best guys aren't coming anymore doesn't mean that wrestling doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work. That's not the argument. The argument is it's not enough just to win fights anymore. It's just not. A certain level, like maybe all the way up to Contender Series, when you get to you could probably get away with some wrestling. You're not going to get signed if you're boring, if you don't get finishes. But when you get to the UFC, it's just not enough. There's no way. You can't. You just can't this day and age. We're still living in a world where John Jones' background is wrestling. Yeah. Sure, he was a junior college national champion, but he's a wrestler. At 135, Islam Makhachev back. Well, Islam's not 135, but he probably means 155. At 135, or maybe that's a mistake by the people who are translating this. Islam Makhachev's background is combat, sambo. What else? Wrestling. Ilya Tapora's background is wrestling. These guys are wrestlers. Let's see. The Hickman brothers who are in Muay Thai, those are the guys Brian was sucking off, the Iowa boys. Those guys are really good coaches. They taught Wele how to wrestle offensively. That's the key, Chael. I had a crazy argument with Michael Bisping about this the other day. I believe if you want to wrestle effectively inside that gun, you got to learn how to actually wrestle. Zhang Weili is learning wrestling, not just MMA wrestling. I disagree. I think MMA Guru is wrong. Sure, Tatiana struggled, but again, there were some simple things she could have done to change what happened. Disagree. She kept shooting double legs. You cannot shoot double legs anymore. You can if you set it up. You can if you have the striking, get the respect to set it up. When all you have is a double leg, you can't just shoot double legs. You have to set it up because people are good at defending double legs. Whether they're NCAA wrestlers or not, the sport's evolved. We can't just straight up shoot double legs and expect success. You got to shoot double legs and switch off to single leg if you want to take people down. Or you got to have overall good skills where you can chain wrestle, but you're still shooting a double leg based off a jab via GSP, stuff like that. Interesting. Yeah, I'd say MMA Guru won that argument. Chael co-signed on it. But he's right. I think sometimes we see it even with Bo Nickel, who basically won the Heisman of college wrestling. Like, if his striking doesn't evolve, he won't be a champion. He won't. You can't. You just can't. You have to be pretty well-rounded. Now, you don't have to be a world champion jiu-jitsu guy, world champion kickboxer, world champion boxer, world champion wrestler. We don't need all that. But you have to at least have two of the four. You have to have really good striking, and then if you have decent takedown defense, you can be successful. You know? But if all you can do is wrestle, no. Now, I will say this to defend DC. If I had to pick one discipline where you're dominant in to have success in the UFC, it'd be wrestling, meaning that's your base. So if you give me one guy to mold and create into a champion, I'm taking Bo Nickel. But if we're talking right now, Bo Nickel has a long ways to go before he's champion.